All right, YouTube. Hello. Uh, it is I once again, Bruised here. Been a little bit since League start. It's been about 2 weeks now as I'm putting this video out. I decided not to do a video on my League starter. It was a Lightning Strike Warden. It was very solid. I just figured, there's enough guides with that going on. Lightning Strike is extremely popular, whether you're Slayer or Warden right now. Didn't really feel like it, and then I made one other character before this guy, and now I've landed on this character, and I've been having so much fun that I decided it's finally time to make a video about him, because it's just been such a good time. I have a little bit more min-maxing to do with this character, but overall, this character has been an absolute blast to play, and I'm excited to do more, and this league has been super good. So, with that being said, this is a Trickster Chaos Inoculation Elemental Hit of the Spectrum Bow character. As you can see, my Leveling Sickness level 93 here. Called my Leveling Sickness just because my friends were like, bro, you're the only person I know who seems to enjoy running the campaign with new characters. They're probably not entirely wrong about that. And so I decided to make this character. Here we are, my Leveling Sickness. Character, though, very solid overall. We'll go over the gear and all that good stuff in a little bit. I figure I'll just show off a quick map per usual. I would do a boss, but alas, I have not done... I recently ran all of my bosses, so it is extremely barren in here. So please join me for a moment while we go and kill Veritania or skip around. Per usual, I'll have the build POB down below, along with some, I'll probably make some notes, all of that good stuff on directions the character can go, or what else I think that you should look for with this character. But this character has been, like, honestly shocked me with how strong it has been. Is that a Trickster? Oh my god, I hate Trickster so much. That's one modifier that I don't understand why it's in the game. Just Ice Wall and run away. The Ice Wall and Run character, man. Makes no sense. I hate meteors. Money, 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 money. But yeah, though, this league overall has been absolutely insane. Like, I have been just playing the ever-loving crap out of the game recently. Like, I probably more almost than I've ever played just on, you know, a league start. And there's still so many characters and still so many things that I want to do. Like, I feel like I've barely scratched the surface of things to do. Like, curious. 2 days, 9 hours, about 30 minutes on this character. This is just one of my characters. This is not even everybody. You know, I have my league start character, which has however long, and then the one character I made before this guy, and yeah, it's there's a lot going on. Also, I'm gonna skip Gwenin, both in an effort to actually move forward in the video a little bit, and also in an effort to not deal with Gwenin, because man, I just don't care about Gwenin, if I'm being honest. I don't want to deal with her gambling that much. Gold. Gold, I need the gold still, man. I gotta go back for it. You all understand if you've been playing. I need the gold. My town needs me, man. They're all so hungry for the gold. Which one is this one? Oh, that's right. It's a Big McLarge Huge. Right. Land. Ah! Okay. Did absolutely let myself just get creamed there, don't mind me. This is a, I think it's an increased crit map too, so, yeah, that's gonna hurt. Alright, there we go. When I'm actually thinking about what I'm playing against, we're good. Hi, Veritania.
Time has no meaning here. Your pain will be endless.
Oh, it sure will be. No. But yeah, there we go. It's at the very least, like I said, extremely good damage right now. It is a very, very, very solid build. There's definitely nothing wrong as far as bossing goes and all that kind of good stuff. I've killed pretty much every major boss I've killed has been on this character. There were a couple on my league start, but this character has done, you know, Uber Elder, Maven. I haven't done any of the actual like Elder stuff. And I haven't done I haven't done Ubers, and I've attempted a tier 17 on this character. It was a little while ago, it was like a couple levels ago, and minus some upgrades and gear ago. That was when I started doing that. So I could reasonably do tier 17s. I think if I beef this character up a bit more, maybe make a few more adjustments, a little bit more min-maxing on this character, doing tier 17s is completely doable with this character. 100% doable. It's just unfortunately the pain of doing tier 17s though is just they just really aren't that fun. Chickens. They just really aren't that fun to me though. Um, and so I really haven't taken a lot of time to actually figure out I haven't really taken a lot of time to figure out that level with this character. But overall, though, let's go over the gear, and I'll talk about the trees, links, all that kind of good stuff. So, what I will say to start off, this is the bow. This is the bow with this character that I've landed on. What I will say is that at the end of the day, this is actually probably a suboptimal bow for this character, and the reason being that Elemental Hit of the Spectrum actually kind of just wants you to have big flat added damage to your bow. But I was crafting on this Shaper Spine bow just because I like some of the extra things that you can hit, such as the attack speed and double damage and the damage penetration and stuff. And so I was just spamming away, and I happened to hit these prefixes. I locked prefixes and just rolled crit, and I happened to hit this, and I immediately just went, "Oh, I'm done then. This is just a incredible bow for this. Regardless, it's still very solid. But if you really wanted to up the damage and take it to another level, really all that you would do is get a triple flat added roll, and then just still go for crit and attack speed and whatever else on your suffixes. But overall, I just really liked how this bow landed, and you know, it's too exciting when you hit something yourself, right? Like you do something that's really cool and you're like, okay, I have to use this thing. So I've been using this, and it's been a lot of fun. Helmet wise though, we have the Lich's Circlet. Of course, as a trickster, you want to have the biggest energy shield base helmet that you can, because that gives us more evasion. So Lich's Circlet is the newest one that's been added. The implicits here, I think, can change. The reduced mana cost of attacks, I think, is pretty necessary, but the increased maximum ES from gloves and boots probably could be something different and better. I can't really think of what you'd want to use here. You could use reservation efficiency, and then look to squeeze, like, a Grace into this build as well. I'm not actually running Grace right now, so you could reasonably do that. Instead, that might be a bit better. I'd leave that up to you to figure out, though, overall. For now, though, I think this is a perfectly fine roll. This could also still become even bigger. Better ES, max ES rolls here, but 435 is still a very good amount. Plus intelligence and some lightning resistance, sorry, and whatever other resistances you might need. This is just a really defensive hat. I think I literally spammed Harvest Craft on this until I got it. So yeah, you can very much so do the same thing. Quiver over here, just flat added damage, some crit chance, crit multi, and flat damage with bows. Not the craziest quiver. I'll probably be looking to upgrade this. This is probably going to be one of the first things that I'm looking to upgrade with this character. Just more in general, just more flat added across the board. I still think the crit chance and crit multi, or maybe more attack speed and crit multi with bows and suffixes could be better. And I'll still need the fire res as well. We're using a Yoke of Suffering. This is probably one of the most expensive pieces for this build, outside of if you actually got an incredibly expensive bow, like an incredibly expensive bow with triple. Shut up, Danik. A bigger bow will certainly run you more money, but realistically, you can still craft to make yourself a decent one. Yoke of Suffering, on the other hand, you kind of gotta buy unless you're able to farm T17s as is. These, when I bought this, was about 3 divines, so this is probably the most expensive part of the build that I have currently. It might go down in price, it might not, I don't really know. It just cost me 3 div, and this is a pretty poorly rolled one. I'm probably gonna throw a divine orb or 2 at this as well. So chess piece wise, I'm using a attack crit and additional curse roll of a necrotic armor because that's the biggest evasion energy shield base that is out there now. Um, I'm not sure if I'm going to stick with this, truthfully. I think this is a really, really good option, and it adds a ton of damage, but you might still be able to fill that damage elsewhere without going the additional curse and crit route. But you can absolutely do this. It's still very solid. And then I have the curse enemies with LA weakness over here ring, and I am using Assassin's Mark as well. So those are the two curses that are being applied whenever we are hitting things. Um, and then just generically, whatever else you need. This just has resistances and some increased defenses where it could. The reason why I kind of want to change this is just to get more evasion and energy shield on this, just to really ramp up my own life. Because damage-wise, I feel like this build is really, really solid, really good. But defensively, currently, as it is for me, defensively is a little on the lighter side. I would kind of like to respec a little bit and work into that. So the armor here might be a way of doing that. But regardless, we'll move on. The ring here, this really isn't anything special. This is also another point of upgrade for me, most likely. Because this has plus 35 life on it, which really doesn't do anything. The strength, I also don't need on it. But yeah, the LE weakness is fine. It really just has LE weakness, the crafted max ES, and some lightning damage to attacks. So realistically, overall, this ring is a whole lot of nothing and will probably be upgraded hopefully soon. This ring over here, I would love to actually... Yeah, I actually need the strength from this ring, though. This ring over here, on the other hand, is actually a lot bigger, just with the sense of tier 1 increased elemental damage with attack skills, some good resistances on it. I had to craft the strength. The only unfortunate part is that maximum energy shield roll. I wish that was not tier 10 and plus 6 of it. That is so terrible. So I might look to try to get a better one, something a little bit stronger. This just happened to be, it was a ring I was rolling. I was actually trying to roll it to be the LE weakness ring as well, and instead I just hit a lot of resistances and increased LE damage, and I went, oh, well, I kind of need that, so I just slapped that on for now. Let's see, glove-wise, fractured accuracy. Oh, that's also another point of contention with Lich's Circlet. You could actually buy a fractured accuracy roll on Lich's Circlet, I think for pretty cheap last I looked, so it might be worth looking into grabbing accuracy as well, because accuracy does kind of become a bit of a problem in the later levels, as you can see. I'm still at 100, but only 97 against elusives, and so if you have map mods for less accuracy or anything, it can kind of drive you down a good bit. So it might be worth investing in a Lich's Circlet with accuracy rating on it instead. Regardless, though, Warlock Gloves plus accuracy rating on these hit a good attack speed roll, along with just some increased energy shield. Could be bigger, but for what they are right now, extremely solid. And so I will use these. The attack speed and projectiles pierce, probably the best rolls that you can hit as far as the implicits go. I can't really think of anything else. Intimidate on hit, maybe, if you wanted to go that roll instead. I would leave that up to each individual person, but I think attack speed and projectiles pierce is the way to be. And over here on some Warlock boot action. Once again, just increased move speed, resistances, and increased energy shield as much as you can reasonably hit. So I might also try to make these slightly bigger, but they aren't bad overall. And then the belt here, this is also another area you can probably make better improvements. This is a Crusader, I think. Yeah, Crusader crystal belt, mostly for the increased maximum energy shield roll that you can hit on it. As you can see, the rest of this thing really isn't crazy. I'll probably be trying to harvest craft defense on it some more and see if I can upgrade it. But you could reasonably also here, you could increase your own damage, I think, by a pretty sizable margin if you just did a Darkness Enthroned with like 2 Abyssal eye jewels. And those eye jewels could just have any resistances that you're missing. You'll want them to have energy shield. And then if you need stats on them, you can do that. And then otherwise, be energy shield stats, and then just as much flat added damage as you can find on some abyssal jewels on the market. Should be very easy to come across that. Link-wise, You know, I'll just kind of leave. I'll kind of leave. I'll just kind of hover over each of these. I don't think they really require much of an explanation as far as anything goes. Skitter balance, flame dash, precision, discipline. I will say, the tech of having flame wall and tornado with this has actually been a ton of fun, and also seemingly adds quite a lot of damage to uh to this character. Like when you get the tornado ramped, when you have the flame wall that's out and your arrows are going through the flame wall as well, it seemingly adds quite a bit of damage. So I would say if you feel like you want to slot it in, I think it's actually kind of a good thing to slot in. It definitely adds seemingly quite a lot of damage. So we have Frenzy with cast on crit, and then Mana Forged arrows as well, of course. And then Tornado and Flame Wall is what is triggering. Adds a lot of damage. You shoot into the tornado, tornado deals more damage. You shoot through the flame wall helps you deal even more damage as well. Assassin's Mark on hit here. Like I said, you could probably try to build into more mana reservation efficiency somewhere. Maybe grab an Enlighten as well, and then you could probably try to slot a Grace in. So you probably get it on your helmet. Yeah, you can just try to potentially slot in Grace. That is a matter of if you're able to get your attack costs down enough, though. And then, tree-wise, the only thing that I would say might be kind of worth... Oh, also, the other thing that would be expensive on this build is this Thread of Hope. Last I looked, larges were like 3 divines as well, but it's possible these have gone down in price. But the only other thing... Oh, and Interrogation. Interrogation for Secrets of Suffering, very, very big with both Yoke of Suffering and Ele Hit of the Spectrum. But with that, though, I will say the only other area of contention I would say that this build could probably drop would be maybe to cut these nodes over here, Throat Seeker and Utmost Intellect. I'm mostly just using these for crit multi and the increases to Energy Shield. But overall, it's probably not a huge deal. I think you could cut these points potentially if you do go with a more defensive-oriented version with Necrotic Armor instead. And you could cut these points probably and put them into like Spell Suppression or Spell Suppression there. You know, take the Bleeding Mastery here, take the Critical Mastery here. And maybe even look into if you wanted to go down here and get a large jewel socket set up here and do 2 larges instead, you could probably reasonably do that. You can grab this basic slot here and move this over here. Maybe do a small cluster up here if you really wanted to. You could take the mana mastery here or here. I would probably take this one actually for reduced cost of attack. So you could, but you could take that. That would also probably help a lot. Oh, and something else of note on this build. Well, actually, I'll do two things of note on the tree that will help a lot. Is also taking the leech. Instant leech node will also be a good thing to grab as well. But the main way that I've solved mana leech and everything and mana on this build is by taking Clever Thief. I haven't found any other way really that's reasonable nearby. Like I guess you could take this small mana leech node here, but I don't know if it'll solve. I don't know that it will solve your mana enough. So it's kind of balls in your court. Also at that point, I would just take this for the leech mastery, because it is at least also 1% total versus this is 0.9.
Yes, that is a
0.9 added together if you take both of these instead. So up to you, whichever one you want to take. It's a little bit more here, and you can take the instant leech, and then you should be good. Also with bleed, the only way Cornered Prey works is if your frenzy actually goes off, because bleeding has to occur with a physical hit. Elemental Hit of the Spectrum deals no physical damage at all. So frenzy has to be your way of triggering. Frenzy has to be your way of dealing physical damage. It won't deal enough damage that you will kill yourself on Fizz Reflect maps. At least in my experience, that's been the case. I haven't killed myself on Fizz Reflect maps at all. But that is the way that you're actually going to get Cornered Prey to activate, is by frenzy hitting stuff and causing the bleed. That's the way it works. And you'd also take the Bleeding Mastery for increased critical chance against bleeding enemies, but that is a incredibly good tech and node to have, and it's too much to pass up on, in my opinion. But with that, though, I think that's basically this character. The last thing I will say, I think I'll wrap up with that, but what I will say is I'm really, really hoping that GGG potentially lowers the costs of some of these rune crafts, or does something for these rune crafts, whether we get more from shipments, or they just lower the cost of these crafts in general, because the main driving force to me making this character in the first place was I really wanted to do this craft. 5% of your maximum energy shield as cold damage to attacks with this weapon. I was originally thinking about doing Ice Shot, but ultimately I just decided Elemental Hit of the Spectrum just seems a bit more fun to use. But this is so ridiculously expensive right now. Like, as of the recording of this video, this craft is like 80 divines. Maybe more. It's about 80 divines, though. It is actually crazy, and I can't get enough runes fast enough, and it's actually just kind of ridiculous how expensive this is. And at the end of the day, there's probably still better crafts. Like, even just this flat added fire is completely fine. And there are probably better crafts, but I really wanted to try to get a good amount of energy shield, and then try to do something with this. That could be a lot of fun. But unfortunately, it's so expensive that it just doesn't feel worth it. Like, this is by far the most money I've had at the start of a league. So you see, I have 10 div, I have 2,500 chaos orbs. Anyway, there's, like you can see, I had so much currency just sitting there. I still can't afford that. It's actually crazy to me that I still can't afford to buy that even at this point, just because of how crazy expensive some of these crafts are. And that's still realistically kind of on the lower end. 16, actually no, this one actually is pretty cheap. Damage can't be reflected is actually not too bad either, but these additional curse, these two right here, also incredibly expensive for both the power runes, which are about 2.5, 3 divines, and the time and mountain runes. Like, it is just so crazy expensive to do some of these things, and it's kind of a big bummer because I really, really, really wanted to play with a lot of these additional crafts. Like, this is one of the biggest things that got me excited to do stuff this league is this rune crafting table. This crafting table is awesome, but I've seen one power rune. I'm still holding it just in case. I've seen one. I've killed the captain that takes your crew a lot. I've had ships going out constantly with a lot of value to them and everything. I've seen one power rune, so it's just absolutely crazy ridiculous. And I mean, the reason why power runes and time runes especially jumped in price, though, is because of this mod right here. Because you can dual wield wands, you're haunted by 2 tormented spirits. It's a ton of damage. It's actually ridiculously crazy strong. So that's fine. It's reasonably priced for that, but it sucks for the rest of the builds on here, or the rest of the crafts on here that are just so ridiculously expensive and gated behind that kind of thing, to the point where I'm like, well, I can't do anything with this because it's just ultimately just going to cost me more currency than it's worth to put into this character. So that's a bummer, but other than that, this league overall has been so much fun, and I'm really excited to keep playing. Like I said, I'm going to do probably some more min-maxing on this character a little bit. I might jump to another character that's a bit tankier just for a couple things. But yeah, as always, I'll have the POB down below if you wanted to take a look. I hope that you're having a really good time with this league. This league is absolutely crazy good. Melee is back. Melee is a ton of fun. The game is in an incredibly good state right now. The content overall is just absolutely flourishing, and PoE players are eating good. Yeah, as always, POB down below. Let me know if you have any questions. Always happy to answer or chat with anybody about these kinds of builds or anything like that. Or tell me about anything that you're playing. Otherwise, take it easy, YouTube, and I'll see you next time.